Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Live from the mobile den of Brewers Cafe, 1125 Bainbridge Avenue, right here in the capital city, RVA, Richmond, Virginia. Thanking everybody who is rocking with us. Y'all rock with us. We roll with y'all. We appreciate those folks listening to us on TuneIn, on Streamer, as well as those folks that are listening to the replays right now on YouTube, as well as on iTunes. There's no reason that you can't get one of the dopest shows, if I do say so myself, on internet radio. You're listening to the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio, Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Thanking to the folks that are in the room right now. We got a full crowd. We got special guests. We got a Legacy Internet Radio personalities. We got people who have been on our shows. We've got people who've never been on our shows. We've got special guests who came on the strength of us doing this live show. And so I just want to thank everybody for being here. 804-402-2893. Of course, I got to shout out my big sister back there in the room. My sister Sue's in this room, and she don't want to grab the mic. That's cool. I'm going to give her some love.
Your friend has already given. You can go over there and hand it to her.
She don't want to talk, man. Don't put her on the spot, man. Don't put her on the spot.
You want to talk? She gave me the slight.
She said no. She said no, man.
So,
hey, come on from over there, man.
Glad that Joe
come on from over there. I just wanted to make sure that I acknowledged her, because when I moved to Richmond, Virginia, I ain't gonna tell the story. I promise I won't. Unless it's okay, but it's not okay. I ain't gonna tell a story, but I'll tell the tame version. When I first moved to Richmond, Virginia on August 11th, 1992, one of the first people that I met a few months later was my sister Sue, and we've been rocking since back then. One of my favorite people in the world, love her to death. She came to Brewers Cafe tonight to support yours truly and Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J and Legacy Internet Radio. So thank you for being here. I could not do this show with you here without shouting you out, so I give you that love. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J, live from the mobile den of Legacy Internet Radio, Brewers Cafe, 1125 Bainbridge Avenue, right here in the capital city. All right, so this segment, I want to make sure that our brother Dirk Diggler, our brother Big Bro Joe, and our brother Big T all have mics. Anybody else that's in the room, feel free to get in. The floor is open to you. The folks that I just mentioned are going to be kind of the foundation of the discussion, but by no means does that mean that they are the only ones who are going to be talking, because this is going to be a round table discussion. But as I alluded to at the end of the last segment, this is going to be a segment that we're going to talk about guns. We're going to talk about the Second Amendment, and we're just going to have a discussion on how we feel about them. I'm going to start it off by reading the Second Amendment. Now, most folks don't know their Bible, their American Bible, which I call a Constitution. It's the American Bible, because just like, the Christian Bible or the religious Bible, most folks read this book and they take out of it what they want to take out of it, and the rest of it they pervert for their own means. And the Constitution is the same way. That's just me a little bit on a soapbox. But the Second Amendment of the United States reads, quote, "A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." Translation: if you want a gun, you can have one. I'm going to start with our brother Dirk. Dirk, let's talk a little bit about it. You can go anywhere you want with this. I know that you're a person who is pro-gun, which is the reason why I wanted you to be here. Why don't you start off by letting the listeners know why, in fact, you're pro-gun and how you feel when you hear a discussion like this coming up. What you think, bro?
I'll say.
Hit that mic. Hit the switch on that mic. Hold on. Hit the switch. I can't hear you. No.
Hey.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
All right. I'll say, Dirk Diggler, and I'm not just pro-gun. I'm super pro-gun. So, I live here in Richmond. Moved up here when I first came to Richmond. Attended VCU. Started in '97. Didn't end up getting out till 2002. But I'm from Hampton, Virginia. Grew up in Hampton, Virginia. I'll say I think what changed my life was a quarterback who was in my summer school class. I went to Phoebus. I remember him very well. His name was Jamel Dennis. Jamel Dennis was point guard on our varsity basketball team, was starting quarterback on our varsity football team. Great guy. We were in summer school. Half the football team was in that summer school math. And him and, good God, I think it was, no, it wasn't Jacory. That was his brother. Well, anyway, him and another football player walking down the street, one of the nights that we were in summer school, they got robbed. The people that robbed them attempted to pistol whip them with a 380. Well, the gun went off, shot him in the head, died right there. I was probably about 15, and he was in my summer school class, so I was seeing him every day. Not only was he was part of the football family. I was part of the football family, part of the basketball family, part of the basketball family. So for him, a rising star, to be like a sophomore. To be a sophomore and be the starting quarterback, the starting point guard, for Phoebus, which back then and still now, we run shit down there. Not only that, between us and Hampton. So he was our great hope against Hampton. He got took out by somebody trying to rob him. So I think that was what kind of first changed me about guns. And the group of friends that I roll with, my close friends, even to this day, we all was into different things. Some person sold this, another person sold that, another person sold something else, but we were close, thick as thin. And we always had to have protection. You have to have protection when you lead that type of life. And when people when I tell people, or people, I started carrying a gun when I was probably about 16 years old. Davis Industries Chrome 380. 16. That's when I first started carrying. I mean, you got to think. Would you rather go to jail, or would you rather be dead? I mean, that's how I levied it. It wasn't about getting in trouble. It was about, I'm not trying to die at 16, I'm not trying to die at 17. I'm just trying to have this to protect myself and to protect my friends.
Okay, well, let me ask you this question, Dirk, because I am one who, I can say I'm semi against guns, so I'll be on the opposite side of you all that tote them. And I also know that you all learn in your self-defense classes or what have you, when you first get a gun, they ask you the question, would you or will you, or how would you feel, or will you be able to handle if you actually had to kill somebody? So my question to the gun holders in the room, will you, or how do you think your psyche will feel? And I understand, Dirk, that you said, your friend got robbed and, would you rather go to jail than to die? But my thing is really, really, even if that person is robbing you or what have you, do you actually feel comfortable in your mind killing somebody, taking a life? And like I said, I know it's better theirs than yours, but again, are you okay with doing that? Do you feel okay?
Big Bro Joe, you can jump in here and address the First Lady's comment, but I also want first address her comment if you would.
Yeah.
But then from there, I want you to kind of share your story with regards to your feelings one way or the other, similar to how our brother Dirk did. Pick up, please.
Not a problem. I can answer your question very, very simply. And it's not about killing someone for me. It's about protection of me at all times in the situations. Now, some of the very first things that that's just to address your question. Would I feel bad if I had to protect me? I don't feel bad at all. I don't feel bad if I had to protect you if we were out there in those streets. I don't feel bad about my weapon, period. Once again, I'm kind of close to what Dirk said. I've carried a weapon all my life. But you have to realize in the positions that I was in, some of the places where I was, it was a part of your society. It was a part of your neighborhood. It was a part of, for lack of a better word, the culture that you were in at the time. Not saying that it was always right, but the mindset that you had was to make sure that I made it home in the morning. And that's the same mindset that I carry now. And that's the same mindset that I carried for 14 years when I walked around for the United States government in the military. Like I said, there's certain things that you do. There's certain things that you feel. I'm a card-carrying member of the NRA. Yeah, I know Charlton Heston, and he don't like us too much, but guess what? Being an American, I got the right. First Amendment, life first, liberty in the pursuit of my happiness. So I protect mine and those who can't protect themselves. So I'm always good with my weapon. Like I said, I was trained how to shoot. Well, first of all, my grandfather taught me how to shoot with a Daisy air rifle. That's the very first weapon I ever had. If you ever remember, was it a Christmas story, I think it was, where the little boy got his tongue stuck on the pole?
Yep, you'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Everybody know that? Alfie, whatever his name was? Ralphie. Yeah, it was a Daisy air rifle. That was my first official weapon. And see, people say guns. It's not a gun, it's a weapon. And you have to look at weapons for what they are. A gun, if we set it on the table like we're here at Brewers Cafe, if I was to set my weapon on that table and leave it alone and nobody touches it, that weapon kills not a living soul. It doesn't. It's the people's and the person's mindset who puts their hand on that weapon and does what it is used or intended for that makes it there, whether it's protection or whether it's going out and hunting. That's what it's intended for. Right. So I'm good at what I do.
Big T, I want you to jump in here. I'll kind of, matter of fact, I won't say anything. What's your thoughts on what you're hearing so far?
All right. So honestly speaking, if you want to look at something, we'll look at Switzerland, for example. All right. Always look at someone else as an example. They have guns. The policy is people, Swiss citizens and foreigners with a C permit over the age of 18 who, they can actually carry guns. And then there are people who look at that and they're like, dang, we should be doing that too, you know? But the difference between that scenario where there haven't been as many shootings as there has been in America is that they're homogenous. You know, white people aren't going to kill white people. They have no reason to. You know, over here in this society where everyone is different, and here's the thing about anger, here's the thing about vanity. I'm not saying that anyone who owns a gun is angry or vain. I'm not saying that. But everyone has a capacity to become angry. And when you can't really think straight, whether it's out of anger or sadness, and something just happens, fumbles, and someone else gets shoots, or if it's intentional, you know, it becomes much more than that. We can see another thing before I say anything. I wanted to say my condolences to your friend who was shot for your football team. I had a friend last year, actually, at VCU. He was a black Muslim. He was older than all of us in the Muslim community who attended VCU, and he was a janitor over there. During my whole lifetime, I spent 5 years at VCU. I'm finally graduating in December. Thank God. You know.
I know that life, baby. I know that life.
Yes, Big T graduated.
Life, baby.
I know it.
My whole time,
Yes, sir.
my whole time at VCU, there was one man who used to meet me at the prayer room, and every time I saw him, he'd give me the biggest hug. Every time he saw another Muslim brother, he'd hug them, and honestly, even if I felt so stressed, I would see him and I'd automatically be like, all right, today's not so bad. You know, I got my hug. He's smiling at me. My brother was leaving work. On his days off, during his time free, he would come to the library, read a couple books, and come pray, and then go back to work and then clean up at MCV. He was going home, got off the bus, got shot multiple times. Out of nowhere, he got shot, robbed, and they left him on the street. They found him. You know, and when I found that news, I was so shook by it because I saw him just a day ago. And I remember telling myself I was finishing a last-minute assignment, just going through, and I see him and I'll be like, I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to get up and say hi. I'm going to hug you. And when I looked up, he wasn't there. And my last thought is, damn, I couldn't say bye, you know? And like you as well said, if the gun's here and nobody shoots, you know, but people are shooting, you know? People are shooting. The gun isn't going off itself. And we people are flawed.
I agree. People are flawed. We are flawed. But you know what? And I'm not please don't believe that I'm dampening the fact that you lost a brother. No.
Of course.
Because if you lost a brother, then we all in here lost somebody.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
All right, so let's be clear on that one.
No, I agree.
But what I will say is I could keep a blade in my pocket and cut you just as quick getting off that bus. I could take a hammer and bust you in your head. Anything that can be used as a weapon. So what you're going to tell me is that we should take everything away from what you have and use nothing. I don't agree with that wholeheartedly. Like I said, it's my right in the United States to be able to carry a weapon. Now, what I also will say is everybody is not in the right mind frame. And you're right. Anybody can have a bad day and lose their mind at any given time. Regulations sit there and give us certain things. And I heard what you read. You read the doctrine. Now, yeah, 16, you can carry a shotgun. I know some good old boys riding around through West Virginia where I've worked. I worked in South Carolina where they still ride around with shotguns in the back of their trucks going to high school. Does that mean that kid was a bad kid just because he liked his weapon? No. Does it mean that anybody can do something? No. I think that we give a lot of leeway to people who do wrong with weapons. I think we give a lot more leeway to people who do wrong with weapons than we should. I mean, it's really bad to sit there and say, but you know what? As an eye for an eye, it might not be right for you, but for me, that's the way it feels.
Now, let me take it from a different angle.
Introduce yourself.
Oh, it's Big Rube. How's everybody doing?
Terrible.
Sorry to hear that.
Oh, okay. Just trying to throw you off.
All right, so I am pro-gun. However, I'm not super pro-gun. You know, I believe that everybody should be able to carry a weapon if they choose to. I grew up in a time where the issue wasn't people shooting each other. It was children not knowing how to use anything they come in contact with. So for me, and my job was more or less, because I worked at a summer camp, I did riflery and stuff like that. So my issue was teaching them how not to kill themselves, you know, teach them how to use it the correct way. Now, I think we confuse a lot of issues here. I don't care. I don't care about the 380. I don't care about the Smith & Wesson hand cannon. I don't care about that stuff. I care about, they call them weapons of mass destruction, AR-15s, Uzis, things of that such. That's the stuff that I have an issue with.
Why?
Now, well, because it's like you can't have a rocket launcher.
Actually, you can if you got a Class C. Oh.
Well, if you got a Class C, if you got the particular license, you are correct. But you should not be able to walk in Walmart and 3 days later get an AR-15. I disagree with that.
Well, and let's clarify. AR-15s have two settings, just like most semi-automatic
Correct.
weapons. They can be semi-automatic or they can be fully automatic. Fully automatic weapons you can't own.
Correct.
And you're not to own unless you have a specific license. I can carry an AR-15 with a 3-round burst, and most of them fire 9mm rounds.
Correct.
Mine, in particularly, does not.
However,
It carries a 5.62 round.
However, up to probably 6 months ago, you could go and get an AR-15. I could have went and got an AR-15 myself within the 3 to 5 day limit, just off the street. And that's the problem I have with those. Because you're right, it does have the two settings, but I don't think it should be offered to regular people, such as yourself. I mean, military, government, whatever. Now, to me, because I consider that like I can't just go and get a rocket launcher legally. You know, of course illegal stuff is going to happen. It is what it is, you know, and I don't mind a dude walking into an establishment that doesn't have an issue with carrying guns on their hip. If you don't have a rule against that, then I don't have an issue with someone doing it as long as they have their appropriate license and things like that. The problem is, it for me is not, I worry about those people, but not as much as those people who can go and get a severe weapon within a 3 to 5 day period, or you can just order it online and get it at your house, or anything to that effect. I have problems with that. But I don't think that everybody's gun should be taken away. I'm not crazy. Just like I don't think people should have like grenades. I mean,
Hey,
legally.
Rue.
I mean, you know.
Let me read this part of the Second Amendment that a lot of people just dismiss. Right after what Marcus J. says, it says that free people ought not only be armed and disciplined, but they should have sufficient arms and ammunition to maintain a status of independence from any who might attempt to abuse them, which would include their own government. Now, with that being said,
Everybody should become the Punisher.
No. You need to have weapons of mass destruction because the government, our current government, has weapons of mass destruction. And if I can't go to the gun show or the gun shop, and I don't know what 3 to 5 day waiting period you're speaking of, I go and I'll only want a 3 to maybe a 5 hour waiting period to get any new toy that I want, grenades included.
I think I'm speaking to if I don't have a gun as like right now, I don't own a gun. So if I'm going to do that, I have to go and wait my 3 to 5 days. Whereas you have guns already, and you've proven that.
I have different types of licenses.
Yeah,
but that's exactly what I want because I'm super pro gun. You know, and I mean, you have to think. I've had weapons for over 20 years. Have I? I'm free. I'm free now. I didn't. You know, I've been in every type of situation you can ever imagine. And not in 20 years, you can't tell me I haven't been mad. I haven't been, you know, I wanted to strangle somebody. I've crossed all those emotions. Broke up with girlfriends, all that. I've crossed all those emotions. The difference between sane people and insane people is the insane person would have went and shot up everything. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You can't give insane people guns.
Oh, but you can't regulate insane people getting guns.
So I think there's something else that the listeners might want to consider, and that is like throughout nature, the whole of the universe, there's always a spectrum, diversity, our faces, our colors, our builds, our ethnic backgrounds, our religions. And so it is with this issue. And I would, I come fully armed with a heart filled with love. When I was young T's age, Big T, a young Big T, when I was just fresh out of college, I went to work driving a taxi cab in Buffalo, New York. And on the afternoon I started, the 6th taxi cab driver in that past year was found dead. And that's the day I started. I would go to any neighborhood, pick up anybody. They were supposed to be behind the armored shield to protect me. And if there were 5 people and they needed the front seat, they were in the front seat. The window was open between it, and I would go anywhere, anytime, with anybody. And the guys who were getting killed were the guys who were carrying guns, who were carrying billy clubs, who were carrying, sawed-off baseball bats. They were out there looking fearful, judging, and their hearts were filled with fear and racism, and they were the ones getting killed. I've been jacked twice, once with a sawed-off shotgun whacking me in the jaw, and once with a handgun. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was big, and it was in my face. I never saw a gun so big. And I went with my 2 fingers up in the air, and I slowly reached around to my wallet with a smile on my face. And to be honest with you, inside, I was trying to keep that smile straight and even because I had 3 things going on. One was I wanted to pee my pants. The other was I wanted to start throwing up. And the third was I wanted to start crying because I'm looking into the eyes of a young man who thinks he's the most powerful shark on the planet, and I'm seeing dead meat walking based on the choices he's making. I'm the lucky one. He's got to be the one who's going to see a grave well before his days should be. And so, armed with love is an option. Is an option. I will stand between good and wrong, good and evil. I will stand there fearlessly in the face of it and walk away. It's not for everybody. Each to their own capacity and their own understanding. I don't judge anyone the choice they make, but I know the choice I have to make, and that's a heart open and filled with love. That's a weapon.
Here's the way I look at it, because I know both sides of this argument. I used to be as anti-gun as it got, and I want Big Bro Joe to grab a mic because this is a walk that we walk together.
True.
We've been brothers for 20 years. And you heard him talk about his experiences being a military man and being someone who's comfortable with weapons. And when we would be places and I would see his weapon, and see, I've gotten used to using the word weapon. I don't even say guns anymore. I set it up with the word guns because I had to, set it up. But I would see him and I'd be so bugged out like, oh, hell no, get that thing away from me. You just get it away from me. And there was a shift. There was a shift because I started watching the world and I started seeing good people having bad things happen to them. And they didn't have any kind of defense because they were just being taken out. And it affected me and it scared me. And, I understand where you coming from, brother, when you talk about, I'm armed with love, because that's how I am, not was, but am. That's the way I roll. And so I refer to you as my brother because you are. Doesn't matter to me if you're black, if you're white, because there's some asshole black people. And there's some dope ass white people. This is real talk. So I don't even get into all of that. I'm gonna love black people just like I'm gonna love my people first. Some people might have a problem with that. That's kind of a them problem. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I used to watch Big Bro Joe, and I'd be like, man, get that thing away from me. And then I had this shift, and I just started doing my homework. I started doing research, and I started arming myself with knowledge about it. And then I came to the Second Amendment because I read the Constitution, and I'm like, yo, it's my right to have a gun. It's my right. It's my right to be protected. It's my right for folks around me to be protected. And so I started doing the research. And true to form, when I come to him, he's like, nah, I ain't going to give you nothing. Because, see, he don't tell me nothing when I'm ready for him to tell me something. He want me to go and find out for myself. You know what I mean? And so I did my homework, and I became a person who was pro-gun versus someone who used to be anti-gun. So I went through the process, Dirk, because I came to you too. You remember. And I did the concealed weapons permit. I did the class. I went to the range. I joined the NRA because it's my right. And when I walk out of Brewers Cafe tonight, and if someone has ill intentions towards me, then if it has to go down, it has to go down. And when Lissa P mentioned earlier, are you prepared or willing to kill somebody? Yes, that's a question that they ask you. You cannot get a concealed weapons permit unless you answer that question appropriately. And as Big Bro Joe would always say, I would much rather be judged by 12
than carried by 6.
And that's just the way. That's the way I feel about it. And Lissa P and anybody who disagrees, it would probably, because y'all know me, man. I'm a loving person at heart, and it would probably devastate me to be here alive, knowing that I killed somebody, even if that person had ill intentions towards me. But I would be here. I would be here feeling those feelings. And I'd rather be here feeling those feelings than not here. And so, that's how I feel about that, big bro.
That's an excellent point. I mean, we have to take into account all feelings on this situation because, like you said, there's a lot of people who are skittish behind weapons. They're skittish because they don't understand what they can do. They're skittish because they understand what they can do, but they don't have the propensity to realize that all weapons are not. I don't think any weapon. And once again, I'm gonna go back to Big T, and I'm gonna defer to you for a second because, once again, I stated if I put my weapon on this table, that weapon cannot hurt a living soul. We have those people. Dirk, correct me if I'm wrong. And I asked this question last week. I said, "And yo, help me out. How good is a lock on a door to a criminal? Who are the locks for? Are the locks for the criminals or the locks for us?" People looked at me like, I don't understand it. Because a criminal don't give a good goddamn if you lock that door. They going to come in if they want to come in. Now, how they go out is a whole different story. Like I said, and I'm not making light of it. I just don't believe that, first of all, anyone has the right to take my weapon from me. That's number one. Number two, I would feel really, really bad for you if you did. Because, once again, like I said, I can walk up and down this street, and you know what? You never know that I have my weapon on me. I don't brandish it around. I don't walk around trying to show you how bad I am. Guess what? I'm real quiet with what I do, if I have to do it. But it all goes back to protecting me and protecting mine. And when I say mine, that could be any person. You know what? I don't need to know you. And that goes back to the love that we have in our hearts. If I'm walking up and down the street and if I saw that young lady who was behind that dumpster and that dude was trying to rape her, guess what? He'd have probably caught two, and I'd have sat right there and waited on the cops, put my weapon down, and waited on them to come. Why? I'd have had to bite the bullet and take the consequences for that because my soul would have been at rest. Peace. I'm good with it. But we all sit there and think that everybody's walking around like 50 Cent. Walking around trying to gank somebody, shoot somebody, blah, 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 blah. Rah, rah, rah. You know what? Most people who carry guns, who flash and brandish and talk a lot, scared to death. Scared.
Now, I'll say one thing to a lot of people that, are kind of against guns. Keep living life and don't live scared. Like, if you are the type of person who just strictly stays in the West End, doesn't go downtown, doesn't go to Highland Park. Oh, we can't walk around here by a certain time, because they might come out. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, do what you want to do. Go to the park at night. When something happens to your loved ones, because something else happened to my aunt and my mother. My aunt got robbed at gunpoint.
Wow.
They was anti-gun. My mom and my aunt's house got robbed, and they saw the assailant, trying to get in and then, eventually leaving. They was anti-gun to now. Well, I was thinking about getting a gun. Huh?
Get a little pink one.
Huh? Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, you thinking about getting one now?
Right.
Because their life, they see now, their life is more important than getting raped,
Right.
getting murdered, getting beat
Right.
by somebody who don't care.
Okay, let me ask you, Brother Dirk, Big Bro Joe, and Marcus, and anyone else who chooses to carry a gun. Now, say for your aunt and your mom or your sister, whomever, who goes through the same classes as everybody else goes through. Now, am I understanding correctly? If someone does break into your house, if someone does break that lock on your house, Big Bro Joe, and if he is running out, you cannot shoot him, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
If he is degressing,
Okay, no. So now my
digressing?
thing is, as being a chick, as being a female, me being in the house by myself. Even though I know these rules, but I panic. So now, have I put myself in jail for life?
No. I mean,
Okay.
because, and this is where, when you pull that trigger, regardless of the situation, please have your money together to get a good
there you go.
lawyer.
See, I don't have no money.
Well,
I'm
you
broke,
gonna have to
so
come up with some money.
I mean, whether you right or wrong, you're gonna need.
You gonna need a lawyer. You're gonna need a lawyer regardless of what. Because see, if you have somebody who comes in your house and say, however it happens, you end up shooting them in the side, you end up might shoot them in the back of the thigh, and you might get them one time in the front. 9 times out of 10, you're gonna get out of that. Because, I mean, they got a broken door, they got somebody that you clearly don't know in your house. I mean, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get out of that. But per the law, per the Virginia law, if you're not shooting them square on, and not only that, you have to retreat before you can fire. So that means if somebody's coming through your front door, you can't stand right at the front door waiting for them. You got to go to
You have to digress.
You have to go back. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
It's not hard though, because I'm gonna tell you what I'll tell most ladies, because I've done some of the classes. You know what? Most women like to get handguns. They're real cute, real nice. No, if you living in a home, and I tell grown men this too.
Like where I live.
Personal, where you live? Oh no, where you live? You need grenade launchers, flares, and some more stuff because we need some help. But listen, I mean, a lot of things people, and we can talk about the different types of weapons. Like Dirk said, digression is one of the things you got to do. If a person breaks into your house and they turn around to leave, if you confront them and they turn to leave, no, you can't, no, and don't chase them. And no, call the cops and let the cops do their job. They're reactionary anyhow. Oops. Did I say that loud? Police officers are not trained to be aggressive. They're not trained to be aggressive. They're reactionary to what happens. But I believe in a shotgun. I'm a firm believer. Home protection always needs a shotgun, bro.
Best home protection. Best home protection is the shotgun.
Because you can get in the corner and you can get a whole lot of area.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely.
And a lot of times you listen to a shotgun rack. Let me ask y'all a question. I've done security in a lot of different places. Why do you think police carry shotguns? It's not to shoot people. Really? It's not. They carry dogs for the same reason. It's not to do. It's called intimidation. When you rack a 12-gauge shotgun, you listen to. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. You start looking around. I'm good. My bad. Hey, I'm sorry. I thought that was my cousin's house. Real talk.
Yeah.
Am I lying?
Nah, because that person who hears that rack, they know in 2 seconds, if that, their body could be split in complete half.
Depending on what you use.
Depending on what you're using.
And a lot of people are scared of guns. So I would say that go take a class. Go learn how to use it. Because you never know that, let's say something does happen and a gun just fall. You don't want to, you got to use to protect yourself. You don't want to accidentally get yourself. So I would say definitely, you may not like guns, you may not have guns, it's fine. But you need to learn how to use it so you don't accidentally shoot yourself. Because a lot of people accidentally shoot themselves.
Amen. Mm-hmm. Trust me. Big T, I know you sitting here, and I know you amped to get in here on it.
I'm waiting.
You were feeling some kind of way. Before we get to you, real quick though, we got one of our sisters who just showed up, so she needs to introduce herself first and make the comment that she had.
Oh, hello everybody. How are you? I'm Shayna. Everyone knows me as being a psychic medium. Y'all know what I do. I do it because I love it. I walked in on the gun situation. My dad taught me how to use guns when I was 8 years old. He was an eagle-eye shooter in the military. So I've been using guns my whole life. I own 4. My favorite out of the 4 is my AR-15, which is the big assault rifle.
They gave
and
you AR-15?
A lot of people ask me, why do I have an assault rifle? I love to go to the gun range, especially on Wednesdays. It's date night. It's $1 night. And I just love to let loose. It's great. You know, my dad taught me how to use guns. I've always respected them. I know how to clean them. I know almost everything to do with a gun. I could put it together, whatever, you know. I just want to say that I think we should be able to bear arms only if it's for protection purposes or for recreational purposes. But, I mean, it's a thin line. So, you know, I got mine.
There you go.
You know.
So
Introduce yourself.
This is LM of MBG, and I'm going to piggyback off of Shayna because I, too, was introduced to guns by my dad. Now, I grew up in the country. So I was introduced to guns shooting at targets in my backyard. I'm not going to say what the targets were, but we were shooting at targets in the backyard. And I remember the first rifle I had to pump it. I had a pellet gun. That was my first gun. I was probably about 5 or 6. But then I got introduced to Ring Around the Rosie. And that was the 45 that was in every drawer in every room in the house because my dad was a truck driver. And he said that if anybody stepped to our front door, that this is what we used to stop them. So, yeah, I knew the do's and don'ts of guns, but I say I am pro-gun. You need one, and you need to make sure that you know how to use it and when to use it and the legalities associated with such.
I can dig it, Big T.
All right. Now, I've been waiting for a while, and I've been noting down everything in my head as well.
Big T, you know how black folks do. You won't go talk for a while, sugar. You know, they got on this. So I'm sorry. Welcome to the family. We love you. Legacy Internet Radio.
First off, there's no right way. You can't really tell who is sane or insane. Mental health, that's my major psychology. When you're studying abnormal psychology, I hate, and a lot of professors hate the word abnormal psychology because you can't really define normal. I just want to define that first. Another thing is I have nothing against guns itself. All right, guns itself, whether you want to use it as a recreational, go to a shooting range, or you just want to keep it on your wall as a decoration piece, you know. But the thing is,
so are you pro-gun?
But the thing is, in America, in this society where racism is inside the government, is inside this whole constitution, it becomes very difficult. You know, if you, and I've seen it with plenty of my friends who are colored, them buying a gun, them getting rejected from buying a gun because they're like stereotyped. And a lot of people who do have guns, heterosexual white males, who do shoot up places and who do
I like how politically correct he went there, right?
I am being straight up.
Hey, look, hey, Big T. You know what us black folks say? You know what we say? Crazy ass white boys. That's what we say. Yeah, man.
That's what the whole world says.
There you go. I think crazy ass white boys say crazy ass white boys. There you go.
I got 13 size feet. I will go the whole way. The thing is that we have to look at where we are living. Everyone is so different, and it's so difficult for people of color to actually have justice. You know, just because you can shoot that rapist, and because you may have been right, you know, you were protecting someone, do you think the government's actually going to take your side, or just like?
Well, it depends. That's like you said. That's a double-edged sword, because does that mean you allow it to go on just because you don't believe that they will protect you? No, I don't. So I'm willing to take my chances with that. See, I like you said, yeah. Do I believe that our government? Ooh, you just made a big word there, because I was about to. Our government is not for us to begin with.
Yep. Definitely. From the start.
Let's get it clear.
From the people that they drove out.
Yeah.
They came in without being there for anyone except for white people. And honestly speaking, like, just look at the whole world. Colonialism everywhere. You know? We look at examples of Hitler. We look at so many different examples. And then we also have to look at the examples that people take out of books that happen in Africa, genocides that they completely ignore, twice or thrice as much as they did in the Holocaust. And I'm not, as I said, I don't like comparing any atrocity, but it's in our books. I remember growing up and reading how 7,000 workers came from such and such country. No, they weren't workers, they were slaves. You know? That's messed up. And the issue is that I'm not saying to take away anyone's guns. All right? I'm not, because anything, if you take away something that I have, look at a kid. If you take away his toy, he's going to be like, oh man, I want that. I want that back. He'll throw a fit. You know? So the thing is that you have to put more restrictions on it.
Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J. live from the mobile den of Brewers Cafe, 1125 Bainbridge Avenue, right here in the capital city, Richmond, Virginia. Getting a couple of hits in from Facebook Live. Our sister Tony, she's saying everyone, and she's referring to you, Dirk. She's saying everybody has the propensity to be temporarily insane, or anyone can snap. Let's see. And she continues. I'm not sure which point she made, because this comments are a little bit old, Joe, but she's saying, good point to you about being called gun versus weapon. She's also military. And as soldiers, we weren't to call them the latter, to change our view of what the civilian world teaches us. The definition of a weapon is, quote, a means of gaining an advantage or defending oneself in a conflict or contest. Although this changed how I felt about people carrying weapons, I'm still terrified of handguns, because I feel that most of the people who have them, for example, illegally, don't know how or when to properly use them. I think that's a very, very, very good point. Let's see. Billy says open carry makes for a polite society. Let me. Billy says that open carry makes for a polite society. let me address that. Let me tell you why I want to address that. I got two stories, Dirk. I'm gonna have you jump in after this, right? First one was in 1993-94. Obviously, being someone that's new to Virginia, I came from New Jersey, where you couldn't just walk around with a gun. Like, you can't. Like, New Jersey does not have regular folks' gun laws. If you got a gun in Jersey and you're not law enforcement, or you don't have some sort of, reason other than just because I want one to have a gun, your ass going down for 5 years, period. No, don't pass go. Don't get $200. You go into jail for 5 years. So this is the mentality that I came to Virginia with.
Yeah, we know.
This is the mentality I came to Virginia with. And, I knew people coming up that had guns. I seen guns. I knew plenty of people, unfortunately, that ain't here no more at the hands of guns growing up. I should say plenty. More likely a couple. When I first came here and I saw a friend of mine, a neighbor of mine, we was hanging out, we was going somewhere, and he reached in his pocket and he put his weapon on the dash and started driving. And I looked at him and I started shaking like a leaf. I'm like, what in the entire hell did you just do? You got a gun? Why you got a gun? Why you got a gun? Remember now, I'm 19, 20 years old, and came from a place where people didn't just carry guns. So I had a conversation with him. He shared with me it was the state law. He had his right, Second Amendment. Again, I'm 19, 20. I ain't hear all of that. Just is what it is. But I never forgot it. Never forgot it. Fast forward about 4 or 5 years ago, I'm in a place, I ain't shouting them out because they ain't paying us, but I was in a place where I was buying something, and I'm standing in line, and I see a dude who's clearly a civilian. And this dude had a gun on his left, a gun on his right, and like a what do you call
a bandolier?
I guess
pistol.
It was like a gun belt with bullets and stuff in it. Like I swear he looked like Wyatt Earp. And I'm standing in a store and I'm looking at this dude like, really? Really? Now, mind you, this is years after my first experience with open carry. My point in telling those two stories is Billy might be onto something.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if normal, law-abiding citizens, and I'm not saying that I'm okay with this, I'm just putting it out there. If normal, law-abiding citizens openly carrying their weapons, you are showing folks, don't act up around me because you might get it. Don't act up around me because you might get it. Now, black folk, this might not work for us. This might not be something we want to do because, you know, even though it's our right, we know that our rights ain't always our rights. Dirk, jump in here.
Marcus,
yes,
Marcus,
sir.
it's funny that you say that because my opinion, and this is just Dirk Diggler's opinion on how to cut down gun violence, is give everybody a gun. If you give everybody a gun, just like you said, if you walk into this room and everybody in this room had a weapon,
it'll be the Wild West.
No. The likelihood of you coming in here with ill intent is slim to none.
I agree with that.
You use it like how states, and when I mean states, I'm talking about world powers, use nuclear weapons. How many times have we used nuclear weapons?
Who?
Well,
the U.S.?
The U.S. is the only country that has used nuclear weapons.
We will use
but how many other countries have them?
All of them.
A lot of them.
Well, whether they want to tell it or not.
So, if you give everybody a weapon, and this is just my opinion, if you make it more free, then I think it'll cut down. Of course, you're gonna have to break some eggs and make an omelet. So in the immediate in the first part of the time that you do it, yeah, you're gonna have some problems. But if you keep going forward, then it will cut down because everybody has a gun, and everybody is not gonna shoot everybody. If you walk into every situation thinking that everybody in this room has a weapon, the people who get robbed the most are the people who are sheep, so-called sheep, so-called innocent. If you walk into that situation like, oh man, this old lady might have a gun. Oh man, these 3 old ladies jogging, they got guns on their, on their yoga pants.
They got fatty packs.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it changes the whole perception, and it changes the whole argument.
I'd like to just add on to that real quick. What is the most causing? What causes the most deaths in America? Car crashes, car accidents. How easy is it to get a license in America compared to such as Europe, where you have to actually go time after time after time after time? And I have many family members who have failed the driver's test so many times because it's that damn difficult. But they know how to drive. They know all the laws, but it's just so difficult to get it. And we have so many car crashes. If we give everyone, like you said, if we're giving everyone guns, like we can just compare a similar case that this is our people, our American people, and it might not be rainbows and butterflies. Like, oh, everyone's just gonna be like, oh, everyone has a gun. It's all chill. We have something in common, you know.
Well, of course you would. It would have to be regulation. It's just not like come pick up your free gun.
Hold on.
Guns for everyone, man.
Because think about it like this. Think about it in this capacity. Everybody who legally can have a gun can go get a gun.
But it's not a mandate.
Oh, so you saying mandate that everybody go buy a weapon? That's like mandate that everybody have health insurance. But
but what I'm saying though, Joe.
Let me. Can I jump in?
Yeah.
So I think what you're saying.
Well, got to introduce yourself though.
AJ
Brewers Cafe. I think what he's saying is a suggestion, and the suggestion is everybody should have a gun. Everybody can have a gun, but the suggestion, your idea is not that we get rid of guns, but that everybody embrace it.
Not at all.
So I think by doing that, though, even though that's a fair point, by doing that, you're just creating another problem. You're getting rid of. You're creating another problem. You're getting rid of. You're reducing mass murder, and then you're exchanging that for one-on-one accidentals or mutual combat. Because think about the concept of everybody being in one room and they're armed, and the amount of arguments that happen throughout the world, like at dinner or driving down the street.
Yeah.
Those sort of things would increase because there's always an argument going on, and sometimes it ends in violence. And if everybody had a gun, then murders would be multiplied by 10. Mass murders. Let me just finish my point.
Yeah.
The mass murders would be reduced because, like you said, if I walk in here and I'm trying to kill some innocent people, then I don't have any potential targets.
Have you ever been in a room and an argument when everybody has a gun? Have you ever been in that situation?
Yes.
No, not you.
Oh,
have you?
I've been in a room where there were multiple people with guns.
Not multiple people.
I can't.
Everybody.
I don't know. I've been in a room with this amount of people in there, and significant amount of people.
I'll say this:
had guns.
I'm a co-founder of a national motorcycle organization. I'm gonna tell you right now, I have been in a room where everybody had a gun. Every single person had a gun, and we've kicked people out of my organization on that day. There was no bloodshed. There was no shooting. So that argument there, and if you get your color snatched as a biker, it is the absolute worst thing that can happen to you. Yeah. Not only get your color snatched from somebody like me, you were so ill in our bike club that I cut your patch out. I cut it out. That's like cutting your heart out. And I did that. I ain't get shot.
Yeah, that's true. But so let me go back to my point.
I'm just telling you. I'm just saying. You know what the mindset was from him?
Yeah.
Is I can't act up because I know the mere second that I act dumb, it's lights out.
Yeah, in that situation, I mean, you maybe come across to this young man as
he was older than me.
This man as a leader, as somebody who he had to cower to or respect, right?
No, but he didn't.
That's just one. Well, that's just one scenario. My point wasn't that in a big room with everybody having arms, is it safer? Yeah, it's safer. But when I say that, is it safer individually if we are all in like 6 or 7 groups? What's the likelihood that there's an argument that's going to break out? Just think about this.
Break some eggs and make an omelet.
Make it practical. How many times you driving in D.C. or New York and you get into a verbal conversation with a cab driver, with a person? How many times does that end in gun violence? Right? Like, imagine if you had a gun and you were like, I just feel like one-on-one combat would be, and I'm not against guns, by the way, but I just think that suggestion will just increase more mutual combat between one-on-one parties.
So you thinking like the Purge?
Oh, God,
no. I mean, but you got to look. Chicago is at what, 500 murders now?
Yes.
I mean, that's insane. That's one city.
Yeah.
That's one city. I mean,
right. The only thing that I wanted to ask is, like, on the other day on the news, it showed that someone had road rage, and when the man got out and confronted the other man, he pulled up his shirt and showed him that he had a gun. So, of course, the other man backed down. So my question to you, Dirk, is in that situation, if you were the person with road rage or the person cut you off and then came to you and showed you his gun and his band, and you have a gun, so does that mean you do the same thing to let him know, okay, you got it? So
I mean, well, were you saying I'm the person that has road rage?
no, like the other person.
The other person that has road rage. I mean, when you've been carrying weapons as long as I have, you gain a sense of tolerance because you know at any given moment you have the power to take that man's life right there. You have the power because it's on your hip, it's under your seat, or whatever. So a lot of stuff I let ride. You know, a lot of stuff that I let ride. Now, the moment someone approaches my car and puts their hand in their waistband and attempts or shows me their weapon, I'm pulling and I'm going. I don't show. I don't brandish. I pull and I go. I've never brandished my weapon. Never. When you see that gun, it's going off. Plain and simple.
I look at it like this. You know, everybody is making a lot of really good points on either side of the argument. And I want to go back when we were talking with Big T earlier about Muslim Americans. There's a very negative opinion, unfortunately, about Muslim Americans in our country. And we know that the actual terroristic people represent such a small percentage of Muslim Americans that, quite frankly, it's embarrassing for people to think that Muslim represents terrorism. That's just embarrassing. You're an idiot. You literally are an idiot if that's what you think. If that's what you think. Having said that, when we look at the amount of people in our country that carry weapons, concealed, open, what have you. If you look at who are the people who are actually committing crimes, the percentage of those people actually being legitimate, licensed weapon carriers is very small. It's the idiots who ain't got no license, who don't have no business with no weapon, are the ones who are doing it.
You mean criminals?
Criminals. Bad guys.
Oh, but do criminals care about?
Criminals don't care. Anyway.
Thank you. Prove my point.
And so I bring that point up to say that there's always going to be the scourge of every community. Some asshole black folk. There's some racist white folk. There's some Muslims that blow up shit. There's some idiots with concealed carry weapons that brandish them and they might shoot you. But the reality is that percentage is so small that I don't know that I want to take the right away from someone that is constitutional because of that. I mean, for me, it really, really, really is that simple. We pick and choose which one of our constitutional rights we want to rock with. You know, we know that the 15th Amendment gave us the right to vote, but it took them 95 years and an act to actually give us the right to vote. But the Second Amendment is one that we embrace. It's so great. Obama wants to take our guns from us. All that kind of stuff. It's crazy. He ain't trying to take your guns. He just want to make sure the crazy people don't get them. It's really that simple. And so I just get real kind of frustrated with certain discussions and certain arguments, and I felt like I needed to add a little levity to that because there's certainly a valid argument to take the guns away, but constitutionally, if we're going to support Colin Kaepernick's right to kneel for the national anthem, then you're going to support Big Bro Joe and our brother Dirk Diggler and Marcus J. and whoever it is right to carry openly or concealed their weapon. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. Live from the mobile den of Brewers Cafe, 1125 Bainbridge Avenue, right here in the capital city of Richmond, Virginia. We're going to take our final break of the night. And when we come back, we got our rants and we got our closings. And I'm also going to bring to you guys a little piece of history. I introduced this last week. Last week I mentioned, and we're going to do a piece of history on every single show. I'll bring that to you on the other side. I got an entire crew. We are live from Brewers Cafe right here in the capital city. Marcus J, live with you. Be back in a few.
What's up, y'all? This is your man K-Dub, and when I'm down on 285 down in Atlanta, GA, maybe on I-64 in Newport News, Virginia, or maybe I'm in Jersey City catching that light rail headed downtown to go into NYC, I'm always plugged in to Legacy Internet Radio, listening to Ain't No Half Steppin' with my man Marcus J. Check it out, y'all. Peace.